You guys ready? Today is the day and we're going to break this motor in. I am just waiting for the fuel driver, aka my grumpy grandfather, to get back with the race gas so we can put some fuel in the tank, check for fuel leaks, and fire this thing up. So what we've done so far today is we put some trans fluid in the transmission, because in other videos you've seen that I had the transmission apart. So we put fluid in the transmission, we put water in the oil, we hooked up our stuff for our timing light. We got a little tool bench over there with the bare necessity tools we're going to need, like flathead screwdriver, 9/16 wrench. I'm waiting for Grandpa and the fuel. That's what I'm waiting for. Even she's excited. So I'm nervous and excited all at the same time. This is by far the biggest engine build I've ever done. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So far we've put water in it, trans fluid in it, and we turned the motor over until we got oil pressure. We turned the motor over until we saw oil pressure on the gauge. I had 20 pounds on a gauge cranking it. I think the battery might be getting a little bit weak from doing all the different testing stuff I was doing.
What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for Grandpa. That's what I'm waiting for. So we're ready. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab an Allen wrench. And so I got the stuff to set the fuel pressure. But other than that, we're ready to rock and roll. I'm going to go sit down in the chair and wait for this old man to get here. It'll only be a split of a second for you guys, but it might take forever for me. Who knows? Come back to hear this run. So we didn't do, I didn't record a whole lot while the process of getting the dragster running and started and so on and so forth. The dragster ended up being a little bit of a pain in the butt to get started. First of all, the carburetor on that thing was on a junkyard 454 big block with a real tiny cam and no compression and whatever else, and it worked good on that motor. But I had to bump the jets up 10 numbers to get it to stay running, because it'd light off after you pump the gas a bunch of times, get fuel down in there. It'd light off for a split second and then die. And this is all after I figured out I was pulling too much timing for the start retard. So the system's new to me, but it's old system. MSD doesn't even make it anymore. It's MSD 7AL3, and it's the red box. They have a black box now, but they don't make the red box anymore, and it's because, from my research, is from guys saying the start retard function was no good because it's locked out at 25 degrees in the box. It pulls 25 degrees of timing under like 300 RPM or something like that. No matter what, you can't adjust it. So I had that hooked up. I was using it, and the car just kept, spitting back out of the carburetor, and whatever else, fireballs out of the carburetor a couple times. Um, it did not want to start. You kind of get it started a little bit, but it really didn't want to start, and it was because it was pulling too much timing. So I kept turning the distributor this way, turning it that way, doing this, doing that, and eventually it ended up killing the battery. Um, Battery became too weak to crank anymore, and while I'm charging the battery, and um, I got to pull number one plug out, and I get it on the compression stroke, and I get it up at right where I want it on the degree, on the harmonic balancer and the timing pointer, and I'm like, okay, and then I take the cap off and I see, and I'm like, man, I got this thing close enough. It should run. It should run to where I could put a timing light on it and set the timing right where I want it. And it didn't work. So while I'm doing all that, I'm like, oh, I remember that start retard wire. So I disconnect that start retard wire, and that thing lit right to life, and it ran good. It worked good. Um, I ended up so this thing's got a little bit different of a water pump setup than what I'm real familiar with, and I had a hard time getting it completely full of water. And I'm like, oh, I think it'll be okay. It'll be good enough for now. I didn't have enough water in it. The top hose for the water pump that comes out of the thermostat housing. Up on top of the intake, there's a hose, and it goes back to the radiator, and from there the pump, so on and so forth. The hose on the thermostat housing actually sucks water. It doesn't push water like I thought it was. I figured it would push water. It don't. It sucks it. Which, after I thought about it, makes sense. But I didn't have enough water in there, and basically the pump wasn't pulling enough water, and it ended up burning up the pump. And I took the pump all apart, and I scotch braided all the brushes and so on and so forth, and I put the thing all back together, and it works. It's not going to stay on the car. It's going to get changed, and it'll be just used as a backup. But it works now. It all works. Videos of the thing running, and as always, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I'm gonna keep saying it until I can get 1,000 subscribers. We're nowhere near close. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the videos. Don't stop.
Lily, come here.
Too advanced, right?
Something, and
So
the throttle has to go up a little if you got your screwdriver.
I do.
It's way down too far. The butterfly is open a little.
All right, hold on. I opened them, but I'll open them more.
No, as soon as I take it about a quarter of an inch, it'll run.
Yeah.
And we want it up anyway. You got it where you want it?
Sure. Ready? That got worse. Let me go the other way. We should be right in the ballpark, so.
I think we're fighting a low battery now.
Yeah.
Everything.
You ready?
Yeah.